Hello, I'm Greg Jarrett, and you are in the strategy room. It's no secret that Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump thinks that rival Hillary Clinton is crooked. He says it early and often. But on Monday night, Trump took his name-calling to a new level, referring to Clinton as, quote, the devil. In the meantime, Trump's campaign issuing an unusual statement attempting to tie the Clinton Foundation to a corporation funding ISIS. Joining me now with reaction are Democratic strategist David Mercer, Republican strategist Brad Blakeman. Gentlemen, good to see you both.
Thanks.
David, even Trump's running mate, Governor Mike Pence, said recently name-calling has no place in public life. And yet, of course, that's precisely what Donald Trump does almost daily. Now calling Hillary Clinton the devil. You know, maybe, David, it worked in a crowded primary, but now with less than 100 days left before the general election vote, I mean, does he run a serious risk of alienating voters?
I believe he does in two ways. One, with regard to the competition he faced in the primary. You know, look, only 9% of the population voted in those elections, both the Democratic and the Republican. So he's got a wider audience now. And what he saw as maybe tested is untested here. And I think what you're seeing with him 7 or 9 points down in the polls, he's throwing up anything against the wall to see what sticks, rather than saying what he's for, what he believes, and how he's going to continue to provide for a strong recovery for the American economy and the American middle class. Yeah. And we don't see him doing that, and I think he's hurting his chances, which have already been narrowed after the convention anyway.
You know, Brad, it's not just calling Hillary Clinton the devil, but now he's taken to calling her Pinocchio and a pathological liar based on the recent Washington Post fact checker who gave Hillary Clinton 4 Pinocchios for her response on Sunday to Chris Wallace over the email server. In fact, let's put the tweet up that Donald Trump posted. The Washington Post calls out crooked Hillary for what she really is, a pathological liar. Watch that nose grow. What Trump seems to overlook is that the Washington Post has given him 4 Pinocchios 33 times. On a percentage basis, they find that he is not telling the truth 63% of the time when he speaks. Your reaction?
Well, you know, it's the materiality of your falsehoods, and Hillary's happen to be more material than Donald's, and we can see that that is already baked into the polls. Both Hillary and Donald have low likability and low trust from voters, so it equals themselves out. But I happen to agree with David that it's time to move on to policy, and in the next 90 or so days, that's what the voters are thinking about. They're thinking about, how is this person going to make my life better? How is this person going to make America's life better? So they better get to substance and policy, because it's already baked in the likability and trust on both sides.
Yeah. Trump, in particular, David, does not seem to be talking so much policy. Recent example, of course, his continuous attacks on the Khan family. I mean, viciously criticizing the parents of a fallen soldier who died protecting others would seem obvious. You just don't do it. It's regarded as indecent. But Trump did it and continues to do it. And I must say the cacophony of condemnation, especially by Republicans, is almost deafening here. Is this the one thing that he has damaged himself the most with?
I believe it is, being that it is his mantra to go after everybody and anybody, even if you have lost somebody defending this country. And I think it also is reflected in the fact that former Secretary Paulson has endorsed Hillary Clinton. You have others like Buffett, and we all saw Bloomberg at the Democratic convention. Republicans in several instances endorsing it because he can't talk policy. Why? Because there is no policy. He doesn't have any policy, and he thinks it can only be articulated in 140 characters, which we all know from all the two-term presidents that have been in office, that 140 bytes does not govern a country.
You know, Brad, Trump claims that he too has made sacrifices, building things. Is there any moral equivalency to a fallen soldier, or does this demonstrate perhaps a conspicuous lack of self-awareness and judgment?
Look, there is no equivalent in building buildings to sacrificing your life against an enemy. There just is not.
Yeah.
And to even suggest that he's made sacrifices equivalent to somebody who put their life on the line for their country doesn't add up. It cannot. It's indefensible. You cannot defend it. And for him to even believe that his sacrifice comes close to that is unacceptable. So anybody who speaks in defense of Donald Trump on that lacks credibility.
David, Trump is losing ground in the latest poll. CNN has him losing to Clinton by 9 points, CBS by 7 points. Might his poll numbers now worsen as Americans begin to react to his attacks on the Khan family?
Sure, I think that he's getting an earful. As much as we may be listening to him, he's getting an earful from the GOP party, from staff, I'm sure, on the campaign, that, look, unless you want to see a reversal of those 9 points and not see another loss of 9 points going into next week, you need to come up with some policy. We need to speak to policy and tell Americans how we're going to give them a brighter future economically and otherwise. And there is, there's no controlling Trump, and there's no advising Trump. He's his own, in this case, worst advisor, and he's suffering for it in the polls. And he is when they have to defend Arizona, North Carolina, and other states that really should be in the Republican fold, they're in big trouble when they need to be getting Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida.
David Mercer, Brad Blakeman, guys, good to see you both.
Thanks.
For complete coverage on the 2016 election, go to foxnews.com. I'm Greg Jarrett. Thanks for watching.